Are you living the divine life? Many of us are not, and there just might be a few things keeping us from this. Welcome to Living a Sacred Life with Dr. Raymont Anderson. In our program, you'll learn to use the tools that have been given to you to make changes that you need, and by doing so, come one step closer to living that divine life. Now, here is your host, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson.
Good morning, SEC. Good morning. So, I usually, whenever I'm somewhere for the first time, I like to give let's call it a warning. You heard my bio, right? So, I'm what's commonly referred to as a nerd. I'm going to put that out there now. I have 10 degrees. What else would you call someone who has 10 degrees, right? Other than a nerd. Now, one of the reasons why I warn you of this is because it's not just going to be me up here talking. There's going to be a moment for me to ask you some questions, and I expect an answer. Okay? Now, part of that's also the former public school teacher in me. When I ask a question, okay? So, let us begin. I'm going to name some folks, and I want you to tell me what these people represent to you, okay? Mother Teresa.
Peace. Love.
Peace, love.
Acceptance.
Generosity. Service.
Selfishness.
Ooh, y'all got a nice list. Okay. Gandhi.
Warrior. Persistence.
Rosa Parks.
Fighter. Persistence.
Determination.
Grace. Just like me. Powerful.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Peace. Dream. Revolutionary. Visionary.
And when you look in the mirror and see yourself, what comes to mind? The interesting thing is, now see, I'm speaking to people, preaching to the choir, because you already know. Isn't it interesting that a lot of people look in the mirror and they don't see the divine? They see everything but. And every now and then, we have our moments. We slip up. We don't live from love. We forget who we are. Sometimes we forget what we are. And in those moments, we go into that place of criticism, and ego steps in. And my hair's not right, my weight's not right, my outfit's not right, everything in my life isn't right. And we complain. Now, let's go back a little bit, since this is the first time you're meeting me, right? So I'm born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1966. I'm born into a family that everyone in my family does drugs, sells drugs, makes drugs, takes pictures of drugs, and sells the pictures of drugs. Something drug related. And when it's not, now when I say drugs, yes, I mean heroin, crack, cocaine, I mean drugs. And my parents, they didn't do drugs, but they were alcoholics. So alcoholism, drug, crack, etc., drug. Now I grew up, I'm roughly, say 10 or 11 years old, and one of my older brothers, I have six older brothers, one's a half brother, 6 older brothers, and I'm 10 or 11-ish, and one of my older brothers comes to me, I'm in the basement, nerd, playing with Legos. And my brother comes downstairs with a pillowcase filled with money. He dumps it in front of me, pulls a gun from behind his back, taps me in the head and says, "Count it. If it is wrong by so much as a cent, you're dead." Pokes me in the head again, walks away. So I count. Not once. Not twice. Not even 3 times. I had to have counted that money maybe 4,627 times, because I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because I wanted to make sure. I'm 12. I got stuff to do. I just can't be my last day. I mean, come on now. Not sure what I had in mind, but I got plans. So he comes back several hours later and he asks me how much was it, and I tell him. He says, "Are you sure?" Sweat. Closed my eyes and I said the number because I didn't know, and apparently it was right, or right enough. He took the bag and he left. Now I say that because this is what I grew up in. I grew up in thinking I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm not worthy. And I'm the only one in my family who didn't do drugs. I don't drink. To this day, if I go out, I don't drink. And part of it's because I was scarred. I was, put in this place of, no, thank you. Go to a wedding and cheers. You want this? So, up until around maybe 27, 28, part of my prayer every night was, "Dear God, kill me. Please. I don't want to wake up." Now, mind you, I had specific requirements on this. I don't want to die in a fire. I don't want to die in... I'm talking about when my eyes close and I go to sleep, don't let me wake up. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about some painful... I'm painless. Painless. And I prayed this for a long time. And the interesting thing is, I did. I died. That me died. Like the Phoenix thing, you know? Built the pyre, set it on fire, poof, up in ashes. And then from that fire, a new version of me was born. Now this new version of me understood that I asked for this. On some level, I asked for these people. I asked for my mother, who took me out to the bars when I was 5, and to shut me up would give me a beer. I grew up in the household where my father would say to me, "You're stupid if you believe in the Bible. You're stupid." Dude, I'm 7. Like, really? I grew up with brothers putting guns to my head and running home and throwing a bloody knife on the kitchen floor because one of my brothers stabbed somebody who hit my mother with a cast on his arm, hit my mother, and my brother went to kill him. So I hated me, I hated them. But then, reborn, and I realized I picked every single one of you on some level. And from that moment, I understood what's the theme of the month?
Love.
I live from love. Now, understanding what that means. God is love, right? God is power. God is all that is. So when we say I live from love, we're saying I live from power. I live from that place that I know that I am that I am. I know who and what I am, right? I live from that place of being divine. Not just thinking that I am, but knowing that I am. When you can get there, when I got there, I was able to look back and say, "Mom, I forgive you. Dad, I forgive you." Because one important thing that I think all of us in here and out there, because when we go out into the world, being in it but not of it, it's our job to be the light. And I don't even want to say it's not our job. It's who and what we are. We can't help but to be what we are. So when we step into that place and the light is shining, others see it. They want it. So, 3 steps back. Do you love yourself enough to forgive whoever in your life you may be holding a grudge against? I didn't ask if you love them.
Right.
Do you love you enough? Because we've all got somebody who we're driving in the car with and we're like, no. We've all got somebody who crossed the line at some point in our life. Someone who made us mad, whether it's, someone at the corner store who didn't give us the right amount of change, or the person who didn't use a turn signal and got in front of me anyway. There's somebody, whether it's recent past or long ago past, who hurt your feelings or physically harmed you. I've been slapped around a little bit, so I understand. I grew up with abuse. But do I love me enough to let that go? It's not happening now. It's not here and now. There is no gun to my head now. There is no abusive mother calling me out of my name, telling me how stupid and ugly and foolish I am. It's not happening now. And even if it was, because there are times when I go home and visit my mom in Pittsburgh, but I'm going there from who I am now, not who I was then. So when I go and I see her now, I see her as Lois, divine, goddess. You don't know it. I'll know it for you. I love me. I love me enough to hold that in consciousness for you. Because if I don't do that for me, when I step into that and she reaches for one of those former buttons, what happens? I'm now involved in the drama of, I can't stand you. I hated you when I was a child. I can't stand you and I hate you now. I wish you would die. if I let her push those buttons. But I love me enough to say, when she reaches, silly mother, there are no buttons. I love me enough to say, I'm not going to let you do what you don't even realize you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
You got me with that?
Yes.
How much do you love you? Do you love you enough to do what Martin Luther King Jr. did? Because now let's pause for a moment and think about his life. He's doing everything he's doing. Gandhi, doing everything he's doing. All of these great people doing what they do. And then at some point they reach a moment in life when they say, you know, if I cross that line, the moment I cross that line and start saying this, I'm now a target. While I'm on this side, I can be hated or disliked or despised quietly by a small select few. But the moment I cross that line, the moment I wake up tomorrow and say this message from that side, all bets are off. And I have to be willing to say, am I willing to die for this? Do I love me enough to die for what I believe in? And I'm not talking physical death, because I don't believe in physical death anymore. Because what the caterpillar calls death, the butterfly calls life or birth. You like that accent? Do you love you enough to risk standing up for what you believe in? My oldest brother is a minister. My mother refers to us as her bookends. And we are as far as east is from west. He went to, we all know a gentleman by the name of Pat Robertson, 700 Club. Yeah, that's where my brother went to school, from at his college, his seminary. So you see where we're at.
Yes.
Now, at one point, my brother has 9 children. Right? Somebody said amen. So my brother has, I think it's 9 that we know of. And one of his sons, his third son or fourth son, from a woman he cheated on with, which is partly why he blames this son being gay, is because he said, well, had I not cheated on my wife with, then this wouldn't have happened to him. So at some point when my nephew was roughly 15, my brother stopped speaking to him. To this day, I'm not sure if they speak. Because my brother and I, we speak on a social level, but we don't really speak. Now, I mention this because at one point I asked my brother, how come you don't talk to him? I mean, he's your child. He needs you right now. And my brother said, I don't have a son by that name. And my mind immediately went to, and I wanted to go tit for tat with him. You quoting scripture, I want to quote scripture too. So I went there with him. In that moment, I did not love me enough to represent me. I wanted to meet him where he was. That's not my place. When I do that, I'm going where he's going from anger and hatred and fear and scarcity. When I go there, I'm not loving me enough to stand in my truth, to be authentically me and transparently me. Because in that place, I'm open for him to attack me. He starts throwing Greek. At that point in my life, I hadn't been studying Greek. So for everything he threw at me in Greek, I'm throwing Hebrew at him. So it wasn't really work. We're fighting. We're not talking. We're fighting. And we're using the Bible or the language of the Bible to fight. How is that, in the grand scheme of things, how is that ever going to help my nephew? It's not. Do you love you enough to be transparent? Do you love you enough to be authentically you in every moment of your life? And what I mean by that is, we reference the place in which we worship as hallowed ground. It's sanctuary. Do you understand that everywhere you go, sanctuary goes with you? You are the sanctuary. And every time you are near someone else, You are taking sanctuary to them. They may not know. And if they do know, then where two or more are gathered. So now, if I have a candle and she has a candle, if I'm over here and I just have, there's a light. Ooh, there's a light. If I bring my light next to hers, there's a larger light. No matter how much darkness there is, darkness can never overcome light. But when we aren't authentic, when we're not truthful to ourselves, when we're not transparent, when I say transparent, earlier Tomas mentioned the acupuncturist asking, so tell me about your childhood, and it being personal. We all have moments of, sir, excuse me, that was a little personal. Why are you asking me that? And some people, and I love the fact that you mentioned what you mentioned, because some people would say, oh, she just shared personal information. When we're together in this environment with like-minded people, what's personal? Personal implies I, me, you, space. I protect what's mine. You keep what's yours. That's personal. That's separation. Somebody once said that God is a circle whose circumference is nowhere, whose center is everywhere. What does that mean? There is nowhere that God is not. God is everywhere. God is everywhere. What can be personal? When I see you as whom you are. But a certain part of me, namaste. I understand that beyond your appearance, beyond your height, your weight, your skin color, your gender, you and I are the exact same. So what is there to be, per se, personal about? What is there to hide? Because when I get into if I tell you this about my childhood, or I tell you this about me, you may judge me. And then you may not like me. And I want to be liked. I want to be loved. So I will lie. I will hide. I will cower behind whatever facade I need to create so that you will like this version of me, which isn't real. Think about how many people in Hollywood, the Justin Biebers, the whomevers, they hide behind this facade of, well, I'm on this pedestal, I'm a star, I have to be this. And then they do things that other people, the gossip folks, want to take and run with and write about. What if they could be authentically them? Whatever that means for them. Why step outside of your zone of, this is who I am? It's the truth of who I am. You may not like that. And I love me enough to be okay with it.
Yes.
Do you love you enough to be authentic?
Yes.
That when someone says, you worship where?
SEC.
You're one of them.
Yes, Lord.
That you are okay enough to say,
Yes.
yes, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
That when someone says, you're dating who?
Yes, Lord.
Because you love you enough to be authentic in every moment. Now, part of being authentic also means recognizing and acknowledging. 3 steps back. Yesterday, someone, I think it was Rainica, posted on Facebook a video of these children noticing their shadows for the first time. And they're like, oh, trying to run from their shadows. It's hilariously, beautifully cute. And at one point, a father or male figure in the video says to one of the children, it's just your shadow. You can't get away from it. And I was like, rewind. How profound is that?
Yes.
Because we all have these moments. Now, in truth, we're all perfect, we're all good, we're all God. But in our human form, we have moments of not acknowledging, not recognizing, we feel anger, we feel despair, we feel stuff, pissed off. Do you love yourself enough to acknowledge, yes, I feel this? Because you don't have to stay in it.
That's right. That's right.
You don't have to be like a baby and and then sit in it. You get me? You can change. You can be clean. Oh, that's what I did. I just did that. Now wash off. Love yourself enough to say what you said to me yesterday. I didn't like it. Now let me explain why. Because it's not about you. It's about me. Because somebody can come to you and say whatever they want to come to you and say. My mother can come to me and tell me I'm stupid. Okay. That's what you think, feel, perceive. It has nothing to do with me. It's your perception. But when I get angry, no one can make me angry. No one can make me sad. No one can make me anything other than me. Someone can call me all kind of out my name, anything they want to call me. And it's my choice whether or not I say, oh, thank you, and I take it. I don't have to do that. I love me enough to say, no thanks, that's yours. You keep that. Because that has nothing to do with me. Do you love you enough to stand in that truth that when you say, this is what I feel, it's not who I am. I am not angry. Because now you're using the I am. Yod He Vav He. I am that. I am. Two of the most powerful words in creation. I am. And the moment you say, I am angry, I am upset, I am sad, I am mad, I am, bless you, I am whatever you put after it. You're using the name of God, the name of power, to say what you are. I feel this. Because a feeling or an experience can transpire, can be transmuted, can be changed far easier than something you are owning. You understand what I'm saying? When you say, I have cancer, I have a cold, I have the flu, it's the same equivalent. No. The I that I am cannot be sick, ill, have what you're claiming it has. My body can. When you get this new car, or your old car, or your no car, your 10 speed, when your bus pass, I'm not gonna go with that one. When your bus pass, and I know I'm pretty much out of time, I had like 3 minutes. When your bus pass tears, do you say, oh, I have a tear? It doesn't even sound right. There are people who will drive because they so identify with their vehicle, I have a flat tire.
Right.
I have. No, you don't. Your car has a. But note what the language is saying. They are identifying with this vehicle so much that they are identifying that what it has, I have. And you don't. Reframe. In the beginning was the Word, the divine Logos. Language has power. Do you love yourself enough to stand in the mirror, speak your truth authentically, transparently, feeling what you feel, experiencing what you experience, changing what you need to change to live the life that you deserve?
I am so excited that you were here. I got a chance to meet with him in October. He was on a panel at the college, and just when he talks, he tells the truth.
Amen.
And it's really nice to hear, because the stuff you're talking about is like, oh my God, that's me! That's me!
If you don't mind, make sure that you take the hand of someone next to you. If you can't take a hand, touch a shoulder. Some way, shape, or form. Touch somebody. And as you're finding your place to stand,
Touching the ring. Everybody, let's touch. Find a space to
Let
touch.
the circle be unbroken.
Amen. Force is ugly.
and as you find your place to stand, physically standing in this place, Allow yourself to stand in consciousness, standing authentically, standing transparently, standing in and as love, allowing God, the divine consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, the I am that I am, the Yod He Vav, to live in me, as me, from me, for me, through and throughout all of creation. I am that I am. We are together, hand to hand, heart to heart, one mind, showing up in many forms. Let us now go forth, representing that light, representing that love, representing the truth that we know who and what we are. Despite the illusion, despite the lies, despite the shadow, we know God is all there is. I am God. I am that I am. Stand in that truth. Go from this place, knowing that wherever you go, sanctuary goes with you. Wherever you step, it is hallowed ground. Not because you are stepping on hallowed ground, but because the ground upon which you step, you bless it and make it hallowed ground.
Yes.
Go forth, loving yourself enough to change the world. And so it is.
And so it is. Amen.